Okay, so now let's look on page 120 in our student's book, Lesson F, page 120. Okay, so let's take a look at this chart. Okay, and the title is Best States Rankings for Public Safety and Pre-K through 12 Education. Okay, so this is a chart from 2015. And you can find the source here, so this is real information. Okay, so you can see the best states for public safety and the best states for pre-K through 12 education. Oops, let me zoom back in. By the way, property crime is basically stealing and vandalism. And violent crime, as you might assume, is crime that hurts someone or even kills someone. Okay, so I want you to take some time to answer these questions and practice making complete sentences. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and continue when you are finished. Okay, so let's look at number 1. Which states on the chart have the highest public safety record? So if you look at this column, public safety, we can see that Vermont and Maine, so letter A, Vermont and Maine have the highest public safety record. So that's how you make a complete sentence. Vermont and Maine have the highest public safety record. And then number 2, which statement is true? Okay, so let's look through each one. New Hampshire has the best ranking for pre-K through 12 education. Let's check. Okay, so you can see that, oops, wrong column. Yeah, New Hampshire does have the best ranking for pre-K through 12 education. So that's true, but let's check the other ones. New Hampshire is in the top 5 in both public safety and pre-K through 12 education. So let's see, yeah, New Hampshire is number 3 in the public safety category and number 1 in the education category. So yes, New Hampshire is in the top 5 in both categories. So this is also true. Let's look at letter C. Connecticut and Iowa are not in the top 5 for public safety. So let's see, can we find Connecticut and Iowa in the top 5? No. Connecticut is in the top 10, but not in the top 5. And Iowa is not even in this category. So this is actually also true because they are not in the top 5 for public safety. So the answer is all of the above. So you can say all of the above are true. Okay? All of the above are true. Or all 3 statements are true. Okay? And then number 3, how many states are listed only once in this chart? Okay, so let's look at this side first, and we can check on this side as we go through the list. So we can see that Maine, Idaho, Virginia, Wyoming, Rhode Island, and Kentucky appear only once on this side. They don't appear on this side. And then, so that's 6 so far. And then on this side, let's see, Massachusetts, Iowa, Maryland, Minnesota, Nebraska, and Illinois are listed only once. So they are not on this side. Okay, so the answer is 12. Okay, letter B. All right. If we make a sentence, you can say 12 states are listed only once in this chart. 12 states are listed only once in this chart. And then number 4, which statement is true? So let's look at letter A. Vermont and, it says which statement is not true, not true. So letter A, Vermont and New Hampshire are listed in both public safety and pre-K through 12 education. So let's see. Vermont is listed here, and New Hampshire is listed here. And then let's see. We can see New Hampshire here and Vermont here. So this is true. They are both listed in those two categories. So A is true. Okay, and then letter B, Wyoming is number 8 in public safety. So that's also true. Kentucky is number 10 in public safety. That's also true. Actually, then this question is not worded correctly. It should say which statement is true, and then the answer would be letter D. All of the above are true. But it says which statement is not true. So the answer needs to say none of the above. None of the above. So since they are all true, none of the above are not true. None of the above are, or you can say is not true. None of the above is not true. Okay, so there's a mistake in the book, but I hope that makes sense. Okay, now let's take a look at letter B. Solve the problem. Give your opinion. Carlos has a wife and 2 young sons. He has been offered a great job in New Jersey. He currently lives in Florida, and all his family lives nearby. He wants to be able to provide his children with a good education, and he wants good public safety. However, the winters are very cold, and Carlos has always lived close to his family. What should he do? So if you look at the chart, you can see that he has been offered a job in New Jersey, which has great education and pretty good public safety as well. So those are very important to him because he wants to provide his children with a good education and he wants good public safety. But as we know, the northern, especially northeastern states are very cold in the winter, and he lives in Florida right now, so that's a big difference. His family also lives nearby, and he has always lived close to his family. So think about what he should do. It's a big change, but there are several options, and I have heard many creative solutions from many of my students before. So take some time to answer this question. And of course, there's no wrong answer, but you can pause the video and continue when you're finished. Okay, so you might say he should move to New Jersey and ask his family to move there as well. That's one option. Now, of course, that might be difficult, but if it's a good opportunity, then maybe his family would be willing to join him. In fact, that happens all the time. In my situation too, my family was the first to move to the United States from Korea, and in the years following, my uncle's family moved and my aunt's family moved to the United States. So we have family members here and in Korea, but because we moved here, our family members followed. And the same thing with my husband's family. Before my husband's family moved here, his uncle's family moved to the mainland, to California actually, and then they moved to Georgia, and because Georgia was a great place to live, they told their family in Hawaii to move to Georgia because the property costs were cheap, and the weather was great, even though the weather is very unpredictable. But anyway, so you might say, Carlos should move to New Jersey and ask his family to join him, or to move with him, or to move as well, or to move there too. So lots of options. Carlos should move to New Jersey and ask his family to move there too. Or maybe you could say, Carlos should move to New Jersey and live there for a few years. Or live there until his children are finished with high school. And then he can move back to Florida. So lots of people do that too. They move to a certain place for their children's education, and then they move back to where they formerly lived. So again, you could say Carlos should move to New Jersey and live there until his children are finished with high school or finished with their education. And then he can move back to Florida. Okay? Or you could say Carlos should stay in Florida because his family is very important to him, and he can look for another job in Florida. Or there are probably jobs nearby as well, not only in Florida, but in other warmer states like Georgia. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and look at another worksheet here. Okay, so let's take a look at this chart. It says, what makes your neighborhood safe? Okay, and you can see numbers 1 through 5, and 1 represents the most important and 5 represents the least important. So 3 would be neutral. Okay, so we can see 2 families, the Gomez family and the Park family. And then we can see 5 categories: helpful neighbors, neighborhood watch, police officers, home security alarms, and good street lighting. Okay, so the questions ask, what is most important for the Gomez family? So if you look at Gomez family, they put number 1 here for good street lighting. Okay, and remember, number 1 is the most important. So you can write good street lighting. And let's practice making sentences too, complete sentences. So we can say, good street lighting is most important for the Gomez family. Okay, so take some time to complete this page. Let me zoom in. Okay, and you can write short answers if you want, but practice saying the complete sentence. Okay, and also pay attention to the questions, because these questions are very helpful. They show you how to make comparative questions like than. So go ahead and pause the video and continue when you're finished. Okay, so let's look at number 2. What is most important for the Park family? So if you look at the Park family, they put number 1 for helpful neighbors. So you can write helpful neighbors. Now, if you want to make a sentence, you can say helpful neighbors are most important for the Park family. Okay, so neighbors is plural, so you need to say helpful neighbors are. Okay, and then number 3, what is more important for the Park family than for the Gomez family? So this is a comparative question, more than. So what is more important for the Park family than for the Gomez family? So if you look at the Park family's categories, we can see that they think that helpful neighbors are more important than the Gomez family. It's pretty close, but the Park family put number 1 and the Gomez family put number 2 for helpful neighbors. And then also for neighborhood watch, the Park family put a 3 and the Gomez family put a 5. And also for police officers, the Park family put a 2 and the Gomez family put a 3. And then home security alarms is the same, and then good street lighting, they are very different for this category. So we can say, let's see, helpful neighbors, a neighborhood watch, because neighborhood watch is a countable noun. When we put it in a sentence, we need to say a neighborhood watch or the neighborhood watch. Okay, and police, I cannot type today, officers are more important. Actually, there's probably not enough space. Well, no, there is. For the Park family than for the Gomez family. Okay, so this is the complete sentence. Helpful neighbors, a neighborhood watch, and police officers are more important for the Park family than for the Gomez family. And then number 4, what is more important for the Gomez family than for the Park family? So as we saw earlier, this category has the biggest difference and is the only category that is more important than the other categories for the Gomez family than the Park family. I know that was a long sentence, but the answer is pretty simple. We can say good street lighting is more important for the Gomez family than for the Park family. Okay. And then finally, what has the same importance for both families? So we can see here, home security alarms are just somewhat important, but not that important because it's very close to least important. It's number 4. So we can say home security alarms have the same importance for both families. Okay, so let's see. Now I know that the question is singular, what has, and the answer is plural. Home security alarms have the same importance. So this is similar to when we ask a who question. If we say, who likes coffee, then we don't know if only one person likes coffee or 2 or 10 or 100. So the question is usually singular. And same thing here. We don't know if it's going to be 1 category or 2 categories or 5 categories. So the question is singular, but the answer can be plural. Okay. And then let's look at answer or exercise B. Answer the questions with your own opinion. Write complete sentences. So this is just very similar to this activity, of course. And the questions are just what is the most important thing to keep your neighborhood safe, and then what is the second most and third most important thing to keep your neighborhood safe. So this is something that you can go ahead and just do in your own time. You can of course use these categories, or you might have something totally different, but it's about neighborhood safety. So maybe it's something that you already have or something that you don't have and want to have, but either way, just go ahead and do these sentences, and when you're finished you can go to the 3rd video, part 3. Okay,